Hello, folks. Think, think we're live. Throw in the chat if you can hear my voice. Hey, Adrian. All fine? Great. So I actually didn't even have OBS set up because I have a new laptop, and I just did all this in 10 minutes. So let me know if anything's off. Thank God for Matt Stauffer's how to start streaming blog post where you can just look at all the OBS settings. But yeah, I have a webcam this time because it just didn't work on my old laptop. But this one, I just like clicked the add webcam and then there it is, which I know people have asked for in the past. And let me pop out this chat. I can't even really do that. Yes, I can. I also am really fancy now because I have the chat separated on my other monitor, which is just my laptop. Let me pop out chat. Come on, chat. How do you pop out? There's like something in the way. Bear with me here. Triple dot. Pop out chat. Okay, so now I can have the chat nice and big. And I'll try to remember to look over to it. New laptop, you gone M1? No, this is maybe not that new. I got it before the M1 was released. But I don't know, when they come out with, after like the dust settles on the M1 processors, I will likely get one. So maybe like next year or the year after, even though I just got a freaking laptop. But if there's a 13-inch that's just as powerful as my 16-inch, it's going down because 16 inches is just huge. I'm not big into it. Okay, so hey everybody. All right, so I have the chat going. I also want to see how many people are on. Okay, 46 it's showing me. Actually, I'm getting differing results from YouTube. 34. All right, so hey Jason. Yeah, I like having the chat not on the stream window, but I also don't because I keep having to look over here. And hopefully that doesn't distract me or whatever. But yeah, so 48 watching here. Cool. So what we're going to do is just dig into the Livewire repository. So I've been like deep down in the weeds on Livewire and Alpine, and it's really difficult for me to stay up on the repos when I'm really deep into a project. So I've decided like I know myself and I basically need to hit the pause button on all new development for like a week so that I can catch up on things and not let the weeds get out of control. So I figured I was just going through pull requests this morning and I thought, I don't know, people tend to dig that. And then I can actually talk to you guys about, I don't know, the things I'm thinking. So let me know. I don't know. We'll just keep chatting here. Hey, Charles. Hey, Sohaib. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger so I don't have to strain my morning eyes. Great. Okay, that's great. So yeah, yo. Hey, Ryan. Guy. Muhammad. Nathan, Jason, Musafar. Yeah, we got a crew here. Adrian, Ryan Atkins. Hey, Ryan. Who else? Malik, nice. We played Among Us last night, right? That was super fun. We did a no plans to merge Among Us session yesterday, which was a ton of fun. That was my first time playing Among Us, and I actually had a dream that I was in like live action Among Us. Like literally, I woke up from it like 3 hours ago, and I woke up and I was the imposter and I was on a murdering spree, and then there were like 3 people left and whatever. It was weird. Okay, thanks for the audiobook. Nice. Yeah, glad you got to get one of those. Jello or Gello? Chris. Nice. Hey, Caleb. Love you, brother. Love you too. Shek. You made my Laravel dev easier. That's awesome. All right. Christian. Cool. On game right now. Take it slow, Caleb. People who join, as you said, on a murdering spree. Yep, I was on a murdering spree. Caleb is the imposter. Yeah. No, I did. I'm also like never on Discord, but I put it on my phone yesterday to do that, and I got your notification this morning that was like, I don't know, I forget. You said something in the Discord. Cool. But yeah, and I figured that's probably our game yesterday was like a no-go for anybody in Europe because we started at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we got mostly US and South America. So maybe next time we'll have to choose a different time so we can play with our European friends. But yeah, I had a freaking ton of fun. It was so much fun. So we're going to have to do that more often. Okay, so I've been going through a few already. Here's one that I've mentioned a bunch before. Okay. Sorry, I have to deal with family things while I'm doing this because I just decided randomly to do a stream and my sister wants to visit. I don't. Okay. So, now you guys all just think I said I don't want to visit to my sister. That is not what happened. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to explain the tangled web. I will visit with my sister. So, all right. Yeah, so I started looking through things, and the first thing that I came across, people want to be able to configure the default Livewire layout. So it uses, when you do route : get, whoops, that's going to be weird. Alfred's on the other screen. All right, so if you're in, I don't know, some file and you're like route : get, foo, and then the foo component, that foo, let's say inside of foo, it's inside of render, you return, some view like foo. It is going to wrap it in a layout file, and it's going to look inside of resources, views, layouts, app. I don't type, by the way. Resources, views, layouts, app. And that's what's going to look for by default. That's what Jetstream uses. That's what probably Laravel Breeze uses. That's what the old auth scaffolding uses. So that's the default that I chose. So anyway, that's a current default, but people want that to be configurable in case they have like layout space or something like that, I suppose. Which makes sense to me. I've heard this before. I can see it. It makes perfect sense. So somebody PR'd the ability to do that. So the reason I'm telling you this is, one, because I'm interested in your thoughts on it. Actually, yeah, this is a really nice, simple little starting point. So why don't we start here? Here's my question to you guys. AEQ, Caleb, try to build your own framework, Livewire plus Python. That would be a disaster. Hey, Nirav. I suck at pronouncing these names, so I'm so sorry. But I know your names because I see you guys a lot, and I know the name. Okay, so somebody PR'd this, and they PR'd it to their master branch. So I actually just closed it, so it's probably in recently closed. And I'll show you that, and I just want to teach a tiny lesson and then ask you a question. I've talked about this a bunch, but just to keep spreading the word, Adam the Hutt, great guy, just submitted this PR. It was a pretty good PR. It had tests and everything, but it wasn't exactly what I would have done. There are a few things that I wanted to change, just like cosmetic things. But because he forked Livewire and then just committed to his master branch and then PR'd that, I can't push to it. Where if he just took out his own little feature branch and then PR'd, I could push to it. So I closed the PR because I want to be able to make changes to it. So I created my own PR. His commits are still in the PR, so he's still going to get, merge credit and everything. But yeah, so this is where we're kind of discussing the feature. And here's the question for you. Currently, this is the PR. It adds this to your config file, layout to layouts.app. I think this is really simple. It's like config livewire.layout, and then it's very self-explanatory. You can change this to be whatever you want. So maybe let me know if you think this is good. PR 101, make a new branch. Master is a no-no. Yes, sir. Thank you, Adrian. Hey, Mohammed. Hola. Hi. Hey, everybody. Okay, so the first question is this good? Is this useful to you? I'm curious. Let me know in the chat. And I just said, let me know in the chat. I don't know if I've ever said that, but that's what YouTubers say. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Right down below. So we have this layouts.app. Yeah, my workaround has been creating app.blade.php and just extending our normal layout. Got it. Okay. Yep. All right. So this sounds to be useful. My fear with this is that there's going to be other layout configurations people want down the road, and then I'm going to be locked into this layouts.app and wish that I would have done something like layout, view, and slot. I don't know. I don't see why we would need to configure the slot. Does anybody want a non-default slot? And then it's weird because if you set the default slot, the variable that comes through is $slot. Where otherwise, if you set the slot to be body, the variable will be $body, which is confusing to people, I think. Why not view layouts.app? So that would be calling PHP inside an array declaration, which would work, but then like I don't think that would work, Adrian, because when the config file is generated, you would need to have a view in layouts.app, right? Yeah. So Ryan, what are you saying this would be better? Oh, you're saying the config would be better. Cool. Nuxt uses default layout as default, and you can define your own layout, just the sample you've shown. Yes, I like it. Okay. All right. So it sounds like we have a pretty, we have a pretty good consensus. And now that I'm even saying it, I don't know. I don't feel like this is a real need to be configurable. So I think this is good. Let's merge it. Done deal. All right. So this will be in the next version of Livewire. Cool. We're getting it done. Default layout in config. I like it. What if you have two layouts in your app? Yes. So that is something that you'll have to configure on a per component basis, which is to some not ideal. There is actually, this is something that in my mind is just not a perfect story for Livewire, because right now, let me pull up some, I don't know, where are we here? Let's pull up a component. I don't know. Here's a component. So right now you can do this. You could say layouts.base or .foo. That's how you configure on a per component basis. But I get it that if half of your app uses one layout and the other half uses another, having to add this to half of yours is kind of annoying. So you could actually extend render in a parent component. So instead of extending component, you could extend like dashboard component, and then inside dashboard component, you could do a few things. What could you do? So here you could do like parent render. I don't know. Let me think. You could configure this on a public property and reference the public property. You could, I don't know. I have my morning brain. I'm not thinking straight, but I don't want to get bogged down in this anyway. So, yeah. You can change the layout on the component. Yep. And now document that, Caleb. Yeah. Hey, I would love help with that if anybody wants to do that documentation. It's open source, so please help where you can. That's another thing that it's so funny. Like as a maintainer, you think when somebody says like, "Oh, and do this," you're like, "Oh, well, you do it," But I recognize that as a non-maintainer, you sort of just think like, "Oh, well, the person who's doing it should do it," But anyway, I don't mean to be a dick. I just mean to say like, hey, if there's something that you think that should be done and is obvious or whatever, like documenting a feature or something, I'm all open. So, all right, let's see. Like having two pagination. Yeah, that's something that is in the PRs. That's a problem that I haven't rolled up my sleeves on, and maybe we end up doing that today. Yeah, so what else? One question to roadmap. Is it recommended to use nested components for autocomplete dropdowns in a form? Data, that I would say no. That's a really tough one. Yeah, partial updates, lazy data fetching. Yeah, there are kind of plans for some of those stories, and there are current ways to do it that are a little bit hacky. That would be a good one, though, is an autocomplete dropdown that when it makes server calls, it doesn't re-render the entire form. It just does its own thing. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I guess I would say nested component, but if it's too ugly to share data between the two, then maybe I wouldn't say that. Would you consider defaulting to the section way of working? No, I'm not. I would not consider going back to that default. Yes. Okay, Ryan, Caleb, is that tea or coffee? This is tea. Which I was just watching The Truth About Alcohol on Netflix, which is a BBC documentary. And it's just funny how like if this were an American documentary, all the tea references would have certainly been coffee. It was really funny. They're talking about tea and things inside of tea. And then they were like, and like everybody has like a cup a day or something like that. And I was like, wow, that's not what people do in the US, but I rarely drink coffee. I drink tea. I love tea in all forms. I have fancy tea and then I have garbage tea like this. It's just like a bag of green tea from Walmart. I get like 50 of them in a box for like no amount of money at all. It's just so easy. Yeah. It's hard to mess up the cheap Walmart tea. All right. So that's good. We merged that. Okay, Josh Handley. By the way, Josh, I don't know if you're on here. I don't think you are, but Yorkshire tea or go home. What's Yorkshire tea? Yorkshire tea. Maybe I know about Yorkshire tea, and I'm just not. No, I don't actually. We probably have this, but I don't know. Okay, so that's what's up. Yorkshire tea is what's up. I also drink. I think I've like. In my fantasies, I'm more of like a Japanese tea drinker than a British tea drinker because I don't put any like sweetener in it or cream, and I don't eat biscuits with it, which I've learned are cookies over the years. Yeah, it's just like tea. And I like the Japanese teas like sencha, matcha, stuff like that. Are you going to kill Vue in Laravel community, says Ali. I don't think so. I mean, Vue is a pretty, Vue is kind of the king of the robust JavaScript frameworks, and I think there'll always be a place for those big, robust JavaScript frameworks, whether, half of them I probably think don't need to be something like Vue, and for my experience, it was all too much complexity. I just want to make something that's really good and solves my needs, and I think it'll probably end up solving a good majority of people's needs as well, and so by that token, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I know Vue pretty well, and I guess if I needed something like that, I would reach for it. But that's like a lie because I probably won't ever reach for it anymore. Caleb, please kill Vue, React, etc. I'm not looking to kill Vue, React, etc. In fact, when I talk to people, I hear you though. But when I talk to people, like I was talking to a friend, and he's getting into the biz, and I was basically like, I don't know. Long story short, I was like, you need to learn React. Like, you should learn React. Like, don't even learn Vue. And whatever. I mean, there's like more React jobs. That's really for people who just want jobs. Like, that would be my advice. Go learn React and be really good at it. Tea is called chai in India. Interesting, because we have chai tea, which I love. First ever Laracon India got canceled due to COVID. Otherwise, if you would have come, I would have introduced you. Yes. Hey, I love tea. If anybody wants to ship me tea, I'll just PayPal you the shipping. If you like DM me on Twitter. I don't know if anybody's into that, but somebody from South Africa sent me their rooibos tea, and I still drink it, and I love it. Chai tea is basically tea. It's like saying we have Italian wedding soup in Buffalo or in the U.S., and I'm Italian, and at weddings they have that soup, and in those cases, to me, it's just soup. Okay, you want to send tea? I'll take your tea, guys. Hey. But seriously, let me pay for shipping. I'll PayPal you if you have PayPal. I'll PayPal you the shipping. Okay. So let's tackle something else. Josh Handley, awesome guy. He's been doing a ton in the repo, and he just submitted this PR, which I talked to him a tiny bit about, but people are he's going to add tests, so it's not a totally done deal. So I'm going to leave it open for a second. This one I looked through, but there's no test. It's a good fix, but there's no test. And so maybe we'll just talk about this. In a case like this, it's really simple. A very simple explanation of the problem, a good concise title, and the PR is like so simple, and I can read it and I can think in my head and be like, okay, I don't think there's any other implications. I see why this is a bug, but it's so low. I don't know. For me, I'm going to put the burden of testing on the contributor. I don't always do that, but for this one, it's so simple, and the test would be simple, and it's not something that I've heard from anybody else about. So if this is a problem that this person has, I'm not going to like pour myself into this fix. So I just said like, hey, thanks for covering the case, but the test, but if you can, I try to like, if you can contribute a test, that'd be great. And then I'm going to merge it. So that's kind of my thinking on that. And it's cool if other people jump in there and see that message and want to contribute the test, from the community. That's great. That's a great thing too. So if actually anybody's looking, this would be a really easy way to contribute. If you hop onto this PR, you could write a test in like no time, a unit test. Doesn't have to use Dusk or anything fancy, just a little unit test. Probably, just find the tests that test similar things, and then pop in a test that tests this case, and there's that. All right, catching up on the chat. Chai is also in most parts of the world tea. In Portugal, it is cha. How do you pronounce that? Okay, that's interesting to know. Funny, because we have chai tea, and it's like kind of a spicy holiday tea. I'm happy with Livewire. I've been looking for a way to get things done beautifully without going to JavaScript. Please, when you're releasing the next, when are you releasing the next update? So I'll be updating Livewire, this week. I don't know. Like I'm always updating Livewire, but the next big release, okay, I'm probably going to wait till Laracon Online, the next one. And that's when I'm going to release things because it's fun to do it in front of people. Okay, testing in Livewire is so easy now. Yes, with Dusk for sure. Any chance that we can have an Alpine Livewire HTML editor with images upload? Hard thing yet? Yeah, I mean, really what I should do is just buckle down and like show people how to use tricks to its fullest. Like I have videos on how to use tricks, but actually support file uploads and tricks and a bunch of edge cases, and people would be into that. I know what's her name. I'm blanking, and I know her name very well. Tina Hammer. She has some stuff on tricks because she wrestled with that a bunch. So she put out like an open source thing that's like tricks for Livewire. Tina, yeah. Thanks, Mohammed. Okay. All right, so let's look at this one. I haven't even looked at this one. Changed messages to validation messages for better namespacing. Okay, so tall forms. Yep, thanks. Change messages to validation messages for... Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. All right, look in the docs that he links. Yeah, I get this. I get it. Oh, wait a second. Let's see here. So I called a method get messages. Yeah, inside of the component.php. Yeah. I don't know. I understand this problem. Here's the problem, folks. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Definitely a breaking change. Not something I'm probably going to consider. So this is the component class. This is what every Livewire component extends. So when you say extends component, you're extending this class. And then there's this, where is it? Validates input. There's a trait here. And this is where I have all the validation stuff. And so in your Livewire component, when you do protected rules to have the component level validation rules, there's also, I then added, what is it? Oh, not messages, but I could probably see it right here. Yeah, okay, so then I added messages, and I didn't call it validation messages because I didn't call this validation rules. This is kind of a little bit of a namespacing headache that I had. And then this one, when I wanted to add attributes, I'm like, it can't just be attributes because attributes mean so many other things. In a Livewire context and an Eloquent model context, it would be confusing for people. So I actually talked to Taylor and ran him a bunch of my ideas, and he said, yeah, kind of not ideal, but he said he would just do this. So that's what I did. He said he would just do rules, messages, and validation attributes. So that's what it is. Rules, messages, validation attributes. But this person says, well, why don't we namespace messages as well? Because messages is such a common word. And I could see that. But that would be a breaking change. We've already gone in the direction. Unfortunately, and I think this person PR'd, had an important note regarding Livewire properties. So this person probably PR'd something that said, these are all the reserved properties that you shouldn't try to add to your component, which is probably helpful. I'll have to look at that documentation PR because I think it would be good. It would at least be good in reference. So to the next version of the docs, version 2, I added this reference page so that you could literally scan like every bit of Livewire's API just by scrolling. So this is like every single wire : attribute. If I was using Livewire and didn't like have built it, this is the page I would be on the most because I love just lists of stuff rather than digging through like the whole story of how to use the thing. So every $wire attribute, every global JavaScript thing, all the hooks, all the component lifecycle hooks, all the protected properties. So it would be good to have a section here that says like reserved, like component reserved properties. And that's what this PR is. And that's a good call. So I'm going to leave that open, but, I'm just going to say, so they gave this really big explanation, which I get it because I tend to do that too. Because when you're creating a PR, you think it's like good, and it is. But what's best is a short explanation that explains everything you need, because I look at something like this and I'm like, I have to wrap my head around something big, And this is kind of small comparatively. Sometimes they're huge, but it's all overhead. When you have a ton of things to do, it's like, oh, there's just so much to understand. And it's nice when people just make things succinct and simple, and I can use, my brain. But it's tough. It's tough because I get it, because I've submitted a lot of PRs that are just, so I tend to put a TLDR at the top that's like, too long, don't read, here's the little gist, and then a giant section that's like, here's all the nooks and crannies for the community if we want to hash it out. That page was very helpful to me. Cool. Yeah, let me know if you've found, I'm interested to see, like, I just added that, I never talked about it. Do you guys end up on the references page in the docs? Is that like useful in the way that I thought it would be? Let me know. I forgot the attributes as validation attributes all the time. Yeah, Ryan, sucks. Super sucks. Bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know you love VS Code, but maybe it's time to switch to PHP Storm. I don't know, man. Why? Did I do something that was like bad or something? No love. Sorry. PHP Storm is not my thing. It can be other people's things though. And there's lots of times where I'm like, oh, if a PHP Storm person saw me, they would laugh at me. But hey, I bet there's a lot of times I would laugh at them. There's pros and cons. Ryan caught me out on stream the other day. Looked like a dum-dum. Ah, yep. Yep. Okay, so, all right, so I don't like this. And yeah, so let's read it. Started out me creating a component storing a chat message, property called messages for storing, yep. I'll say, yes, I agree that messages is a common noun in apps, and by restricting its use, I'm causing confusion and pain in those cases. Fortunately, I don't think those cases are overwhelmingly common enough to break the API by change. I don't even know if this is proper grammar. To break the API by changing messages to validation messages. Something that if we could go back in time, maybe should have done, but now it's too breaking. Thanks for being willing to contribute. Huzzah! Okay. All right, we got one down. Can't believe I haven't used the reference page more. Yeah, cool, Malik. Okay. All right. So let's see this one. Fixed SVG preview MIME type detection. Okay, so this is Austin. And Austin is a good buddy of mine. And we're actually going to hang out on a call this week and go through a bunch of stuff. So I'm not actually going to look at anything Austin has done, because we're going to look at that anyway. All right, add failing test for server rendered selected option. That's cool. I like the failing test PRs, but I'm going to hold off on those right now. Maybe we'll dig into them in a bit. Okay, fix hydration hook, property hydration called twice. Fix hydration hook. Okay, this one, yeah, there's a few things here. Let's take a look at this. Fix hydration hook, property hydration called twice. Are you going to 0 PR on Livewire today? Definitely not. Not planning on that. I have a meeting later on and whatever. It's just, that would be like impossible. Ali, can we use Livewire like we use Inertia.js? I mean, specifically controller and other default Laravel features. Oh, sure. I mean, yeah, you can do, like, if you're in a, I don't know, you can do your like route, get, foo, and then foo controller. And then inside foo controller, if you have like an invoke or whatever, some like index, whatever your controller function is, when you return your view, just return your normal view. And then inside the view, you can do Livewire some component and render a Livewire component. If you're asking if you can just return a Livewire component, you cannot. So like that, maybe that's what you're asking. And you can't do that. So no go on that. But I don't know. I feel like the story is pretty good, because like, why do you need the controller? Just use the Livewire component. That's what my brain says. All right. Hey, Caleb, just popping in to say hi. I'm excited for you on Alpine. Thanks, David. Hey. Yeah. Thank you for popping in and saying hey. Okay. So, fixed hydration check property called twice. Currently, property hydration functions like hydrate foo are called twice. Ooh, that's not good. I assumed that calling the hydrate function should always be done because of the following documentation in the code. Call magic hydrate property methods on the component. If the method doesn't exist, the call will eat it. I didn't create an issue because the fix seems to be trivial. Okay, so first thing I'm looking for, is there a test here? And there is not. But there is fixing of my spelling, which is helpful. Thank you. And I don't fully understand because there is no test. So I'm going to have to, there's way too many implications for this for me to just merge this. So thanks for the contribution. Do you feel able to add tests to this PR? This changes a critical part of Livewire, and I won't feel comfortable merging without tests. You'd think I'd have like stock responses for all this stuff, but I don't. Probably should at some point. I don't know. But it's a personal touch. So I'll leave it open and I'll comment. Adrian understands what it does. Yeah. Eric Gall. Hey, Caleb, got a question for you. At this moment, route model binding from Livewire's components without a controller in between doesn't work with route middleware like can::foo/modal. Oh, any plans? All right, so Eric, let's take care of Eric here. What is he saying? Let's create a new file and set the language mode to PHP. And you're saying, okay, if we have route get, why isn't that PHP'd out? Huh. Weird. Whatever. All right, if we have route get foo, and then foo component. Okay, so he's saying if we have foo, or let's say whatever, post. So you pass in the index, and we get that route model binding, and then inside like show post, class show post, extends component. Don't even need to do it because it's not real code. So then inside here, if you have a public property called post, it should get automatically route model bound. Like this should just, oh no, this isn't going to work. You're going to need to do this. Sorry, not that. Post. So if you have like this, app models post, if you type into it, and I'm like so broken in my brain right now, I don't even know if this is the right place to type into it. Is it? I think it is. Okay. So that's why you should use PHP Storm. I don't know if, okay. All right. Ollie's going to be hitting that, hammering that home. Boo VS Code. Oh, you guys. Hey, Caleb, show us the magic. Mark. Hey, Mark. I will show you the magic for a fee in my private video. Okay. Dirty jokes. Any plans or ideas to make that magically work? So, file should be .php. Yeah, I was hoping I could just change the language mode. Whatever. So, I want to understand your question, Eric. That got weird. Yeah, it did. Mark's a friend of mine, though, so like if we were just hanging out, it would be less weird, but because we're not, it's weird, yeah. That got weird. How much, though? Yeah, right. Great. Okay, so route get, we route model bind post to post, and we type in post, and I don't understand what Eric's saying. So he's saying at the moment, route model binding, how do I get over here? Route model binding from Livewire's component without a controller doesn't work with route middleware like can::foo model. Okay, so you're saying if we do this, whoops, if we say middleware can update post or whatever, like this kind of deal. I forget the syntax for that, if I got it sort of right. Okay, it's a comma, can update, something like that. Okay, I love this kind of thing. I adore these middlewares and putting them on the route, so I'm with it. If this isn't possible in Livewire, it should be. So, all right. So thanks for helping me out and understand the problem. Mark, that went down. I've been through this problem also. All right, that's a problem. Anybody willing to PR that? That would be great. All right. Okay, let's see what else we got. Rando. Seems like one can't move the tab title bar in the new VS Code versions. The tab title bar? Not sure what you mean. Oh, this thing? Yeah, I don't think you could at all ever. This thing? I don't know. All right. Oh, can't remove the tab title bar in the new VS Code versions. Right, so the issue is that if you use request route post, it's not the model but the URL part. Okay. Can would be in this can post view. Oh, so you put the model and then the middleware. Yeah. Okay. So, or not the middleware, you know, the whatever. I can't even think. Gates, authorization. So, guards, whatever. All right, I'm with it. If this isn't possible in Livewire, would love a PR for it. Thanks. All right, we're gonna keep going with PRs. Yeah, that area. Seem to remember you could hide that. Even when you use route model binding, we cannot access the model inside the rules method since the mount method runs last. Yes, I'm aware of that problem. Let's talk about that really quick, because this one is tough and hopefully you guys can, I don't know, shed some light on it. So if you have your component like foo, okay, and then inside of foo, you're saying you have rules. All right, you have a public property called post, right? And it's post model. And then inside rules, you have something like, oh, this is going to be dark. Post title required, right? But let's say that you want to do something like not just these static validation rules, and you opt into like the validation rules callback or something. This is all going to be pseudocode because I'm actually fuzzy on PHP right now. I've been in JavaScript land so hard the past little bit. So you have this, your validation item and then the thing. And then if you can't just use the static rules and you want to use like class or these like callbacks or something, for example, you can't do that in a property in PHP. So you use protected get rules or something like that. And then I think this is where you're headed. And then in get rules, you want to be able to do this when you're returning the rule set, and you're passing in like a closure rule thing. You want to be able to call this arrow post arrow something, but you can't because this arrow post is just the ID. It hasn't been hydrated yet because the rules get run first, then it hydrates. So that's why inside of mount, you should be able to do this arrow post. Maybe you can. I think you can. Inside of mount, you should be able to. And so people are like, well, shouldn't post get hydrated before get rules? Here's the reason not. Is everybody tracking with this problem so far? I haven't really explained the big problem, but this is the scenario. Okay, here's the problem. The problem is that I use get rules as a whitelist. So if you have post.title, I am looking, if this rules property exists, I'm using this as a whitelist of what properties that Livewire can hydrate. And this prevents bad actors from doing things like binding their own post.id or something. You know, I can't hydrate from the request until I have the list of properties of the model to hydrate. It's like a security thing, you know? For now, I'm using construct method to assign model to variable to access. It's working for me, but I would love to, yeah, it would be good to have a default. Yep, it's a security problem. If anybody can think of a better way without like rewriting the whole system or even proposing how we would even go about the rewrite, that would be helpful. So there it is. People have talked about this before. There's probably PRs open for it right now. It's something that I don't think everybody comes across. Like I don't run across it very often because I don't find myself often using those closure validation rules. And I'm sure there's other cases I'm missing besides those closure validation rules. But, you know, I don't know. It's a tough problem. Okay. So where are we at next? All right. Well, what I do is merge that particular rule when I need it in. Well, what I do is merge that particular rule when I need it to this arrow rules. Rule exists is another example. Rule exists. Yep, that's a good example. That's the common one, I think. Yes, because you have to pass in. Yeah. Got a bit of feature request too. Would be cool if you could bind Alpine. You could bind Alpine to the query string directly so it detects changes without having to use wire whatever. Don't understand, Rando. Maybe throw it in a GitHub gist and we can take a look. Keep chatting in the chat for like 2 seconds. I'm going to be back in probably 5 seconds, but I have to tend to something. 5 seconds. Chat away. Okay, friends. 5, of course. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys, silly geese. Let's try to decode Caleb's room. Oh, dude, it's a freaking mess. The whole thing. It's just a garbage pile. There's like Christmas Amazon boxes littered everywhere. I have a sleeping bag right here because it's COVID and that's the only way to stay warm when you're visiting people. Yeah, you don't want to decode my room. I have a space binoculars over there. I don't know if you can see those, but they're binoculars to look at stars. And you got a fly fishing case. You got a lantern, some boots, a guitar, some knives, and a guitar stand. That's what we're dealing with. Okay. All right, I had to use model in rules, and this is what I did. Take an extra 20 to wash your hands. I wasn't peeing, by the way. Take an extra 20. That's funny, Mark. Mark is a doctor. So, since it was only in consecutive requests. Okay. 10 points for anyone who can find fishing items in the room. Did you find it? There's so much. They're everywhere. In fact, this is a fishing item. This is like the nerdiest thing in the world, but somebody just emailed me, like a Livewire person just emailed me and was like, hey, I love Livewire and Alpine. By the way, have you seen this board game? I don't know when you guys can see this. I'm looking at my webcam, but whatever. It's a fly fishing board game. It's like the nerdiest thing in the world. But I was like, dude, a board game with fly fishing? Put me in, coach. So I got it. All right, rando. Okay. If you do protected query string in your component and bind Alpine to window.location.search, or even, yeah, no, I don't think that's going to work. You would need to, you can't just bind to window.location.search. You'd have to create your own abstraction. And I wouldn't even know how to do that. That's an interesting question. I think I know the thing you're kind of asking. And I'm sure there is a way to do this, but, you know, not off the top of my head. Have to bind to wire filter. Yep. All right. There was a PR that added a test for the validation stuff. Okay. For the rules thing. 1778. Fly fishing reminds me of Ozark. Is there fly fishing on Ozark? I watched the first 3 episodes and I thought, this is a little too dark for me. It was so, like, just the camera, just like the color grading and the style is just so dark. I was like, I'm just going to get depressed watching this. But hey, if there's fly fishing, that's a different story. All right. So Adrian says that there is a PR open with such concerns. So let's take a look at that. Too late. I'm already depressed. Yeah. 1778. Okay. Oh, it's his PR. Unique rule fails during validation, during hydration with ignore. Yep. Okay. Adds a failing test with 3 variations. Happy fixing Kill Porzio. Yeah. And then I sort of explain Yep. In favor of more people expressing the need, which lots of people have, and this would be the place to do it. Okay, so he's got the tests, and I get it. But what I would love is a test that shows me that by fixing this, we're not leaving ourselves open to any vulnerabilities. That's what I need to be able to do that. Just failing tests. Yep. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so did we do this one? Property model names cannot conflict. Oh no, we're a little bit disorganized at the moment. Fix error when new variable is present. We already did that. Fix SVG. We're holding off on Austin's. Add failing test to server. Right, that's just a failing test, so I don't want to dig into that right now. This is something that needs more tests, so we did that. We addressed that. This is Josh Hanley's fix entangle nested arrays. This is going to be a deep one. Although Josh is the man, and I trust that this is what's up. So maybe we're gonna do this. Let's at least take a look here, because I bet people have fallen into this. Okay, if you use entangle on a nested array and an element gets removed from the array, you get a type error. I was on a call with someone, Ryan Atkins. If you're still here, I think maybe this is a tree that we were barking up. It caused by the reduce function trying to access. Yeah. So if you're like bound to a nested property, like posts dot something dot whatever, I don't know, Alpine is now tracking that. And so if you remove that in Livewire, Alpine's going to be like, hey, what happened to that? And it's going to throw an error. So this PR has a check to the reduce function to fix this and includes text test. So that actually seems like a not that like difficult fix. So I'm not actually that scared of this. Look, I think this is the only code change here. Ooh, this is nice. This is nice. Is this in the get? Is this my little get function? Yep, it's in get. It's like, hey, if you're trying to get a thing, that's good. This is good. This is a good one. Whew. I'm like, Ryan is the man. Agreed, Andres. Ryan is the man. In spirit of testing, a QA engineer walks into a bar, orders a beer, orders 0 beers, orders 9,000, orders a lizard, orders -1 beers. I love it. First real customer walks in and asks where the bathroom is. The bar bursts into flames, killing everybody. That's really good. I love it. Ryan Atkins working on a better emoji message retracted. Oh. So yeah, Ryan, I think this is the fix for what we were looking at. Yeah, I think this is going to fix that. Remember, like, we had that property that had a nested thing, and then we changed, and then the nested thing went away, and that's why we got this error. And my sort of solution at the time was just like, well, if you have data available, and you're binding to it specifically, don't remove that data. But I think this may fix that entirely. So, okay, so this is good. Let's pull it down. Let's do it. So, great. This is 224. Okie doke. This is how I pull stuff down. And now I'm going to have it locally. Good to go. And so I actually, like, I'm just reviewing this code. I'm going to look at this and I look for stuff. So component index, let's go here to component index and then the get function. So component index.js and then get. And now inside of here, so this is actually a really fun little reducer in JavaScript, taking something like hey.there.foo and then an object like, I don't know, like object hey there, I guess this, you know, and then making a function that returns, you know, bar when you pass in hey.there.foo. And this is just a fun little, this is like the perfect use of JavaScript reducers in my mind. So I take the name, I split it out by dots to get an array of all the pieces. And then I use a reducer, which I start off with the actual data that you want to reduce, you know, so this whole object. You start off with that. So for the first time this callback is called, it's going to be the carry. So check if the carry, so this is the check that he's adding, because normally I was just saying like carry segment. So segment is each segment here because we split it out into an array. And so the reducer is going to run this callback for each item in the segment, and the carry, it's going to, whatever the return value is of this, it's going to be the carry for the next one. So I'm just returning the that segment each time. So it's like a deep dot notation getter with like one little split and one little reducer. And it's just such a little elegant piece of code. Really fun use of reducers. Wire.get works great. Yeah. Double quotes. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. Eye the tiger. So he's adding a check that's like type of carry equals undefined, which means like, hey, if the last thing that you got is undefined, then, and I guess we could restructure this so that we're doing the current one, right? Like if carry segment is, but I don't know. I trust him that he's thought about this a while. So if type of carry is undefined, then just return carry. Interesting. We're not like, it's like is this going to result in any skipping? Like if, well, I guess if it's undefined, there's nothing after it. So, okay. So if type of carry is undefined, it's going to return carry, which is undefined, and it'll keep returning undefined so that you can do, this is deeply capable. So if you say like this dot that dot food dot bar dot baz, and that is undefined, it's going to return undefined and keep passing undefined as the carry for each one. So undefined, undefined, undefined. So that it's not going to be like, so it's not going to only work for one level of undefined. It's going to work for infinite levels of undefined, which I dig. Ryan Chandler, I've been doing code review all day. I'm in the swing of things. Yeah, nice. Don't look behind the curtain. Not null. Oh, you're saying make sure that it's not null. No, you're actually looking for undefined, because if something doesn't exist, so if you have like object equals hey, and then an empty thing, and if you do object dot hey, and then let's say dot foo, this is going to return undefined. I don't know if that's what you were saying, but this is good. This is really good. I like it a lot. And then he has an entangle nested array test for us. So let's run that. So he has also an Alpine entangle test. So let's see. Let's go into Alpine entangle. So what is this? Alpine entangle nested array. Entangle nested array. Okay. So I think this is this an entirely new test? Yes. And what are we at here? This is browser test. So this is interesting. Okay, because this is entangle nested array is a component, right? Okay. So, okay, interesting. So he's adding to and he's removing, and then he has this add and remove. And then let's see what's going on inside the view. So, oh, so he doesn't, this is perfect. Nice. He's just returning the view directly in here. Derp. So there is no view file. This is that file. So then where's the Alpine? So here's the Alpine. And I don't think he's doing anything with the Alpine. He just wants Alpine to not throw an error causing Livewire to blow up. So then maybe he's referencing this in test. He has entangle nested array. Yep. All right, let's run it. Ready? Okay, get ready. Here we go. Jason. Yeah. Okay. We had a wire model like this using entangle fields when we reordered. So replace HTML here doc with blade. Oh, no. I don't think so. See? No go. No go, muchacho. I don't have any blade IntelliSense because none of the VS Code ones are good. Insert VS Code sucks. Everybody should use PHP Storm comment here. All right, so that was that, folks. I mean, perfect. Frickin' love it. Great job. Great job. All right, I'm just going to add a whip here. And then I'm going to push it. So this is the magic here. I can push to somebody else's PR because they didn't branch off master, which is a very nice workflow for me because I don't have to ask people to do like small things before I merge, and I don't have to like deal with something after I merge it. We can just kind of get it ready and then merge it. So I am down Diggity. Thank you, Josh Handley. Thank you so much. This is such a good PR and makes Get so much more robust for all of its uses. Yep. Okay. So we comment, we merge. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Those are deep problems. Like, it's a simple fix, but probably didn't take them a short amount of time to figure that out. VS Code sucks. Use PHP Storm. Nice. And there it is. VS Code's blade support is poor. Yeah, it's terrible, and there's no good plugins. Sorry if anybody created the Blade plugin. It's not that bad. I'm just like kind of picky. David P. Sorry I missed Among Us last night. Fell asleep 20 minutes before. No excuses, David. No excuses. Just because you're in the UK doesn't mean you get to miss our Among Us hangouts. Is null propagation on objects is possible in JavaScript? I don't know what you mean, Musafar. Do you mean the like question mark dot type deal? So dope, Josh, says Ryan about, oh yeah, yep, neat. Okay, cool. That's great. I think we just made Livewire entangle quite a bit more robust, and everything that uses get. Get's like kind of a core thing. Okay. So where are we at now? Fixed property name. Let's see what time we got here. Okay, we're doing well, folks. Fixed property name shortening when camel cased. Oh, that's Austin. We're gonna do his stuff later, right? Okay, I'm doing the same thing that I've been doing before. I should keep track. Add fit. This is where I'm keeping track, right here. So get the correct data when JSON temporary uploaded file. All right, these ones are a little bit tricky. All right, and somehow I keep getting disk local. As a result, when I do something like this.set field, so which means there's a JSON encode somewhere, the response lifecycle, that leads to an incorrect temporary uploaded file. So he's trying to manually set these Livewire. This is kind of meant to be internal, so I'm not like particularly concerned here. I just noted that there's an open issue for it. Okay. Interesting. So this makes temporary uploaded file JSON serializable. I don't know about this, folks. I do not know. When trying to pass temporary uploaded file to an event, to pass it to a parent component. Ugh. I don't know. This makes me nervous. Class is not well serialized. The reason I get nervous with this stuff is like, I don't want to create any open doors for people to manipulate the serialized temporary uploaded file and gain access to a different file that should not be gained access to. This is the chief security problem with dealing with file uploads. And this is kind of interesting, and a part of me is like, that would be cool to pass an emit, but you know what I mean? I can't wrap my head right now around all the implications, you know? Like I can't do it because it would be outside of the checksum, you know? If you pass it to another thing, it's going to be outside the checksum. So anybody, which I guess is fine, you can always set, I don't know. I would need a test. So this is tough. So this.set, I'll say, this is what I'm going to say. So Livewire, the serialized version of a temporary file is currently meant to be an internal concern. And then this will be like Livewire, what is this? Livewire file ... temporary. Okay. It's currently meant to be an internal concern. File uploads have serious security implications, and I would only feel comfortable merging something like this if there were ample tests and explanations if there are ample tests and explanations why this won't now allow people to manipulate the temporary file and gain access to other files they otherwise couldn't. I'm open to it, especially the use case described in the linked issue. Just need someone to do some leg work on justification here. Thanks for contributing. Okay. That's what we're doing right now. And these are the types of things that, like, I know there's not just two people because there's only two people who voiced something, but you know, it's like maybe there's just two people who have come across something they're trying to really push Livewire in some way, and you have this skewed perception when you see something. You don't always like keep in mind that this could be like 2 out of thousands of people who care about this. And then, you know, maybe I end up introducing a security concern, or maybe I end up convoluting the code base, or you know what I mean? So it's things like this that are kind of edgy, that are really tough for me because I hate just like denying things that should not necessarily be denied, but I always have to keep that in mind, you know? All right, what are we at? Ryan Chandler. Hey, wow, I just thought about it and it is indeed something. Okay, would it be better just to save the uploaded file and save the uploaded file and pass the ID? Not a real problem for me. What would be the use case for that change? Gotta go kill Porzio. Have a client call. Lots of love from Dubai. Sweet. Dubai. Cool. See you next time. All hail PHP Store. Nice. Thanks for hanging. All right, I'll let you guys talk about that, Adrian and Andres, because I can't fully get my head in that zone at the second. So I'm going to keep moving here. Remove unused upload dangerous function. Oh, these are like a present when you get to a PR that's like, hey, there's just something you don't use anymore that you left in there. Upload dangerous. This photo store. That looks like, yeah, that looks like it doesn't do anything. Why is it even there? Okay, it's not used the function. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks. Commit and merge. This is the kind of thing that if I'm a good boy, by removing this, if all the tests pass, then I shouldn't be breaking anything because I tried to exercise everything that I added to the testing. Support loading targets with params. This is another Austin C. This is something that we hacked on together actually. So I'm going to skip that for now. And then models should assign before rules for model. This is that thing we talked about. Suppose I'm using Livewire component route model binding, and we have a unique rule. Yep, and then this has been discussed. Okay, previously closed PRs. Access the model. Yep. Don't see why this rearrange. Just want to provide a historical reference to keep pushing. Thanks. Yep. Yeah. Yep. So, all right. So clearly I need to voice some things here and maybe rethink this myself. But let's just see if we can spot like a vulnerability in the code quick. 16 to go. Yeah. So we'll actually far less than 16, basically 7 to go of things that I plan on addressing here. The other ones are either like lacking something and I've said something, or Austin opened them. Except for this one. This one's probably good. And again, Josh Hanley is a good dude, so it's probably easy to merge. All right. So let's just take a look at the code really quick. Okay, so this is the entire thing. Wow. Hydrate public properties. Instance property equals model. So it's taking it from here and putting it to here. Interesting. Let's take a look. This is in hydrate public properties. Okay, hydrate public properties. And we are looking for this little ditty right here. So this is where I hydrate the model. So this is data coming in from the request, the JSON payload of the request, and then this is me converting all that data into stuff. This is the innards of Livewire here. This is you could try my test with this PR. Cool, Adrian. Yeah. So this is where because I dehydrate the model into like a little serialized thing. Well, Laravel does the Laravel serialized thing. Put it into the payload, and then it comes back, and then I have to rehydrate it. And so this is where this is interesting here. So let's see. Dirty model data. So I'm getting the data. I wonder why I call it dirty model. Okay, so first out of the serialized payload, I get the model. So this is just a new model. Okay, and then I get the data from the payload that I want to set. Yeah, interesting, because it seems like, and then I get the rules, and then I do a data set, and I go through each bit of dirty model data, and then I do the data set. So let's see, I get the rules for a model. I get the rules for a model, and then I get before first dot, I get the keys before the first dot, and then I go through the keys and I do a data set. So I'm only setting based on the keys. What's the problem here? I feel like, Kilporzio, do you think you'll be adding a contribution guide to the docs or the podcast along with the next major release? Yes, actually. I actually had somebody working on a contribution guide, so it is like kind of on the back burner. It's in there, in the burner, but there should be a contribution guide. And something I would love to do is have like a contribution course that's just like a little podcast series or whatever, a little screencast series of me just giving the gists of the internals of Livewire and its PR etiquette and stuff like that. Getting those guns out. Yeah. Huge, big time. With all the not working out I've been doing, I seem to have been getting stronger. Kilporzio, where's the breathing room between the lines in your code? Don't you follow Otwell's path of increased? Yeah, I do sometimes when I'm, this is sort of my coding mode, and then this is sort of my reviewing mode. But it all changes. I just try to follow my heart. Even if I want my heart to like this better, a lot of times I find myself lately liking the really dense code better. Cool. Okay. So, different modes. Yeah, man. Got a whole course on it. On just that shortcut key. Overpriced. I have a change for you. Build a select to copy with Livewire. Definitely not asking because I need one myself. Yeah, that is something people need and something that is on my list. High on the list of userland things to provide, like non-internal related things. Tell us about Alpine JS latest changes. Yeah, okay. After we finish this thought here, maybe we'll talk about Alpine. Yeah, okay. That would be fun to show and talk about. Give you a little bit of a sneak preview. So, this thing here. Is anybody following this? Because this is the deal. I wish I had an easy example payload to show you, but I bet Surge locally doesn't even work for me because of reasons. So what about this? Well, okay. Let's see if I can trigger a Livewire request, hopefully with a model. Shut up, you. Okay. If we look at the network requests, so this page uses Livewire. So this is all, this is all Vimeo stuff. But I think it should make a call out to Laravel. It should make a call out to Laravel pretty soon to save my progress on this video. So yeah, how do I get it to shoot the dupe? All right, I'll give up on this in a second, but yeah, shoot, I'm not even sponsor of myself. Or maybe I just need to log in. I'm sure I added myself as an exception. Okay, great. And so let's do something like send repository invite to myself. And then this is a Livewire request. So fingers crossed that I used a model in here and we'll be able to see it. Data, there it is. Okay, great. So this is perfect. This is a good place to understand. Mark Salmon, surely the problem there is that you're assigning the model before it has been hydrated with the properties defined in rules. Yes. So, but what I'm wondering, you're right, Mark, totally. You're saying, so what's going on here is like I'm creating a brand new model, brand new, or getting it out of the database, but, right? Yeah. But then request memo data property. So if there's a screencast, right? So here's this screencast model deserialized thing. So this is the serialized. And then I get that serialized version and then I get the data from it. This would be the raw data. Okay. The thing is, you can't tamper with this data. You know? You can't tamper with it. So why do I need to be so protective of it? So then, like, why not if I set this property to the model above? Oh, that's the thing. Right. It's like what I would need to do is not use the keys as a whitelist on the way in and only on the way out. Is that making sense to anybody? I feel like I'm going to lose everybody here. Like, what if on the way in I don't reference the keys? On the way out I reference the keys to make sure that the data, so this is in hydrate, on what if on dehydrate, this could be the fix. This could be the gap in my understanding. So on dehydrate model, what if I use the rules for the model, so this is like post.title, as a whitelist to data set filtered model data, and then set that property to. And then on the way in, I don't have to do this. I don't have to deal with the rules key at all. You know, I can just, I could just take the dirty model data and I could loop through it and do a data set. And then calling it a day, you know, because it's not going to exist from the way out. Anybody else following? Anybody else have any ideas or thoughts? Like if I'm barking up the right tree? Yeah. So I think this is actually the thing that needs to be addressed here is that we don't necessarily need to do this on the way in. What if a hacker changes some property through JavaScript? Right. So that's a great question. If a hacker changes a property through JavaScript, then the checksum will catch it because there's a checksum. Let's look at that response, that request. Every response contains a checksum, which is a checksum of all of the data of everything. And then when it makes a request, it sends the checksum. And so every request, Livewire says, okay, hash together all of this stuff and this stuff and make sure that the checksum matches. So if a JavaScript hacker changes something, it'll catch it. The only way a JavaScript hacker could get around it is if they knew how to generate a checksum that matches their changed data, which they would need your app key from your env file to make a hash to do that, which is just a plain security breach that's not necessarily Livewire's concern, you know? Yeah, so the checksum, component checksum manager, I get the memo, like all that data and metadata and all that stuff. The only one I don't get is the children for reasons, whatever. I need to be able to modify that. And then I JSON encode them. And then I make a hash with SHA-256 and I use the hash key, which is your app encrypt or get key, to make that that key. That's how the checksum works. So great question. All right, so I think their fix is the wrong fix, but I like where they're headed. And I don't know what to do right now. So maybe you guys tell me what you think is the best course of action. Do I attempt to make this PR conform? Do we dig up Adrian's PR and make a change? But then again, I mean, this is the good work. It's the hard work is the good work that has to be done. And clearly I'm avoiding it because it like takes a bit for my brain to wrap my head around like the concerns, you know? But I don't know. Let me know in the chat what you think I should do. What's the next course of action? So we have this PR. There's no tests, and it's a bad implementation. So I don't think we're going to use this PR. So I think this is just going to be closed. So the question is, make your own branch and take stuff from others. Go fishing. That's not a bad idea. The flows are actually good for the first time in a while, and it's not raining. I actually should be fishing. I'm making a mistake by actually working, you know? Refactor with your updated understanding. Agree with Jonathan. Austin. Hey, Austin. Hey. Yep. All right. So Adrian says make your own branch and take stuff from others. I think we might do that. I think we're going to do that. Is everybody ready to buckle up? So I have a hard stop at 12:30, which is less than an hour, but I probably have to shove food in my face before then. So I don't know. Let's see if we can take like a half an hour and get this done. You guys you're egging me on. So I do actually have a call at 12:30. So the fishing would have to be like 15 minutes of fishing. Well, plus getting all my gear on and everything, maybe 5 minutes. I bet I could still do it. Hello from Finland. Stranded in the UK at the moment. Hello, Finland and UK. Haas. Hey, Haas. Adrian, hey, dude. Now I have some context, okay, of what we're doing. Yep. All right. This is an often requested thing. Let's see. Let's do it. We're going to dig in, folks. We're going to start a branch and we're going to do a feature. Okay, what if we're changing the properties that we whitelisted in a form and a hacker uses that we don't want to be changed? That is the case. You understand the problem perfectly. And we're going to use that case as a test. I don't think we're going to hit it, though. Oh, you're right, dude. I need to just live on a lake so I can just have a pole chilling while I'm on calls like this. Hey, Cal. No excuses, Mr. Porzio. I know. You're right. No excuses. I told that to you. You're telling it to me. I'm eating my own cake, medicine. Stop wasting time and start smashing your keyboard. Okay, I'll shut up. Here we go. Git checkout, new branch, and it's going to be hydrate models before rules. Before validating. Hydrate models before validating. Right? That's what we want, right? Okay. I think that's what we want. Hydrate models before validating. Okay. That's what we want. So let's, it's all going to be test driven here. So we have to find the best place to do this, which is not always an easy task, if you can see here. These are just the unit tests. These aren't any of the dust tests. All right. So there might be something in component has rules property. Let's check that out. Validate with rules property, validate only with rules property, validate without rules property, and no args throws exception. Can validate uniqueness on a model. Can validate collection properties. So maybe we need to start with a can validate. Yep. Like this will be our whitelist thing, not our white. This will be like the happy path test, and then we'll do our security tests. I think this is probably a good spot to at least add one test, because this is really the thing driving this is not being able to validate like existence on a model. So let's say can validate existence on a model. And I haven't wrapped my head around even what this means yet. So I might be like, I haven't used rule exists in forever. So I'm going to have to look that up. Yes, it should be released and ready. I'm pretty sure PHP 8 has been supported and released. I could be off on that. Let's just check really quick. Get Livewire, GitHub Livewire releases, and maybe not. Nope, here it is. 2.3.3 PHP 8 support. Good to go. Good to go. All right. Okay. So component with rules property and model with uniqueness validation. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to duplicate this. And this is going to be component with rules property and model with existence validation. Okay. Then we're going to get back to that test, and then this one's going to be existence validation, okay? And then let's take a look at this component and kind of drive this out. So let's reference Laravel validation rule exists, and then passing in a model. So I think exists, okay, exists database. Right, okay. So this is when you're just passing in straight up like column names and table names, but we want to reference one of these bad boys here, right? Instead of specifying the table name directly, you may specify the eloquent model which should be used to determine the table name, but we want rule exists. This is the thing we want. Yep, okay. So something like this. So in our validation rules, we're going to do protected get rules, and then here return okay, and then this is going to be foo dot, definitely going to need help with this. How does this work? What are we testing? Adrian, Caleb mentioned that you had a previous PR to this. Would you mind linking to it? Yeah, please link to me. Okay, 1778. Is that the one that has... I'd love to see some sample code of the existence feature stuff. That I had it pulled up at some point. So maybe they're in the reference in the issue. Okay. Okay, add failing test. Let's look at these and see if... So this is this model ID. We cannot use this inside rules property because of the restriction from PHP. So let's see the example. Okay, if this is accepted, it's possible to use this inside. Okay, so I guess this is kind of a simple example here. Would be, yeah. Oh, is it just rules? It can't be. It's get rules, right? I don't know. Now I'm second guessing myself. I don't know how to use Livewire, do you? So, just rules. Ha! Funny. Funny. Because there is a get rules, but it might be more internal. Is it public get rules? I don't know. Too much JavaScript. Yeah, dude, I'm tainted right now. Big time. Foo.bar. Okay, so we were doing foo name, required unique foo name, and then how does this work? It's like the third parameter is the ID for some reason. See, that's what I don't even understand. Is like if we see unique, okay, so it's table column except. So table column and then except, and the except is, I don't know, clearly I'm struggling here, so please. Okay, so it's basically this. You want to say, why can't my brain figure this out? You're saying you're validating an email. You missed public function. Yeah, I know there's some like, right. Okay. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So if we have foo.name, so foo.email is a better example. Or maybe we should just update this to use that. I don't know, whatever. Let's actually change this name. So this is going to be with rules property and model uniqueness validation. This is gross. With and model uniqueness validation with ID exceptions. Okay. So now inside here we have, that's what they're saying. I missed the function. All right. So now we're returning foo.email. It's going to be foo.email. And where do I have foo? Where do I define foo? Set foo.name. Like, where does foo come from? Does it get set above? No. Foo. In mount, this foo. Right, okay. Then we get it from sushi probably. So we have foo email, and then we have required unique foo. We don't need required. Unique foo email column, and then the accept is this foo ID, right? Okay, did I get it right? That's what we're doing, right? This is the right test case. PWA for the future, progressive web app, payment request API for the cool. Oh, these are feature requests. Foo come from China. This foo email. Is it this foo email? Yeah, because you're checking the ID of the column, and then it knows to reference the ID column, right? Okay. No ID? Or Adrian's saying no, it's ID, I think. I think we're barking up the right tree here. Okay, so we have our rules function. We're referencing this foo ID. And now this business here, can we use this? We need an email, and that's fine. So let's say we'll just reuse this here, and it's going to be email foo@example.com, email foo bar@example.com. Okay. And then here we are. Amazingly, no one disliked this live. Love it. First time saw that. No one disliked this live. Amazingly, no one disliked people don't hate Caleb. I must have missed something. Who's hating? People are mad at me? Okay. Model for uniqueness validation. This foo. All right. So that's what we're doing. And then we hit save. And what the heck am I doing? I probably don't need to do any of this right now. That was probably just to verify the connection stuff. Woo. Get property, connections, connection, foo connection equals connection. Yeah, this was just because we were validating. We wanted to validate with connections, and I had to do some yuck stuff. But we don't have to do that. So then we call save, and then we validate. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay? Great. We have our test. Now let's get it to fail. So we want to set foo.email to baz@example.com. And then we call save. And let's leave it at this right now. And let's see what we get. So we have attempt to read property ID on null. We have the failing test, folks. Stream has 0 dislikes, so no one hates you. Everyone give a like to Caleb, even he is not a real not a real YouTuber. I just use this as a platform to like talk to you. What's not to love? Oh, you guys, so sweet. Okay. Can validate uniqueness on a model, but exempt the model itself. Okay, folks. Livewire v7 ETA when? Let's see. minimum, like 2 years, maybe 3 years, at 2 releases a year. I don't know. Okay, so here's our test, and now we want to fix the test. So we call save, and then we want to assert has no errors. And then we call set foo email, and yep, we want, so this is setting it to something else completely, and then this is going to be setting it to itself. Yeah, setting it again, calling save. Okay, and then we have one more case where we're setting it to something else, and then we assert that it does have errors. And then this is when we set it to, because if we're dealing with the first model, where's the model in sushi? So if we're dealing with the first one, then this one is bar.example. So if we set it to bar and hit save, we do want to get that error, okay? So this to me is the test. Cannot read property ID on null. So now we go to hydrate public properties, we go to hydrate models, and now we're rethinking our strategy here. Hydrate model. Okay, this is hydrating an individual model. We get the brand new model, we get the dirty model data, and now we're not going to get the keys thing. We're going to loop through. Ooh, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Think. Hi, Caleb. Can you do a wizard, package, or tutorial? I don't know what that means. Sorry. Maybe explain. Was already released along with Frakes. Oh, Livewire 7 along with Frakes close button. I don't understand. Okay. Livewire V7 ETA. Laravel onboarding. Caleb himself is a wizard. What you want is a biography. Okay, I don't understand the references. So the simplest thing to do here is we get the model. Nah, see? Because we want the model to already have been initialized with the dirty data, but we can't use the rules as a reference. So how do we do that? How do we get the data? We want to loop through the dirty model data, which we have. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's dd dirty model data. And this is what we get. We get email. Perfect. What's not to love? So, and this is where we're going to for each through, but these keys are going to be dot notation. We need to get them in dot notation. I don't know. Whatever. This is what we're doing. We're going to for each through dirty model data as key and data. I don't know. Just call it key right now. And then data set model key, and then data get dirty model data key, which we don't have to do. The dot notation thing is tripping me up a little bit. Like, I don't want to introduce a vulnerability because I'm not doing the deep dot stuff, but whatever. We're going to say data set model key data. Okay. So we're going through the dirty model data. I don't even know why it's called dirty. It shouldn't even be called dirty. And then we're just going to set instance property and model, rerun our test. And what's our new failure? No such table foo. This is our problem, folks. It's that really annoying little sushi bit that I had before that I think I need to re-add. Unfortunately. Yep, I do. So I need to re-add this, and then I need to set foo connection on unique. So how does that work? Unique foo connection dot foo model for uniqueness validations dot name. So it's foo connection. Yep. Foo connection. So sorry. This is because I'm using sushi. And in this case, Laravel doesn't it's not the default connection, you know? So I have to like wrestle the in-memory connection out of the model and then give it a name that I can reference here. So rerun the test, and what do we get? We get no such table, foo connection. Interesting. Yeah, I would think, why is connection first? Is that just like an error in general? I would think, let's reference the Laravel docs. If we have unique, it is table column except ID column. Is it like it's a dot instead of a comma? That's what it is. Somebody catch that? Yep, Mark did. Adrian did. Okay. Redo. Hey, yo. We have a passing test, my friends. We have a passing test. So the happy path works. But the next step is, so somebody said, don't do data, do value. I think, who said that? It was Andres probably. Don't know. So this is going to be value. Okie dokie dokie. Okie dokie day. And we have that passing test. Oh, so sweet. Let's just verify, and everything still passes. Everything still passes. What happens if we do PHP unit test suite equals unit? Look at that. Just crushing through them. All green. Loving it. So now we have to do some security things. Okay, so I'm looking for a test called like component model binding, or like public property component thing. Eloquent model validation test. That's pretty interesting. This is so funny. You would think that all the stuff would be grouped a little bit better. Yep, I don't think this has anything to do with security. Have to go. Thanks for hanging. Yep, thanks for hanging. That and all your help. It's really good. All right, so we're looking for model attributes can be bound directly, I think. Yeah, model attributes can be bound directly. Can set a model attribute and save. Oh no, these are like model attributes themselves. Can't set a model attribute that isn't present in the rules array, right? An eloquent model's meta can't be hijacked by tampering with. Yeah, like we already have protection for that. Like, I already have all the security tests. Do I need to add another security test? What's a big mess due to wildcard deep checks? I don't understand what that means. Models can be set as public properties. An eloquent model can be set as a public property. An eloquent model can be set and then removed. An eloquent model can't be hijacked by binding to ID data. And this is like a good test that we're saying model for serialization. That's our model. And we have ID of 1. Okay. And we create ID of 2. Okay. Right. So we have two models, but we only need the reference to one. And then we say component with model public property, and we put ID 1, and then we set ID 2, and it doesn't let you do that. And the checksum already prevents. Okay, what is something that we're trying to do here? What if we are saying, like, what's a case? Like maybe because we're not pulling from the rules array, guys, I don't even know. I don't even know. The security I want to enforce is, here's what it is. If you have, let me just go back to the test and show you that. So, okay. You have rules here, right? This is here's ultimately what I'm trying to protect against. Wire model equals foo.id or user.password. or something like that, you know? Somebody in JavaScript changing this or doing a wire.set user.id to malicious ID, you know? But this is, and so I want to use this as the whitelist. Like you could do this if you did like foo.id, you know, like how do I know what's locked down and what's not? Right. Data is protected by the checksum, and data comes from the request, the response back, which uses the validation rules. So the question is like, is there a way for us to, I think it's pretty airtight. Like maybe the only thing is if you set a model. So what if we set a model with no validation rules? Dude, I like have tons of tests around all this stuff. Do we even need to test anything? I have a bunch of security checks already. You know what I'm saying? No, Andres. The reason being that most people nowadays do this, including myself. And so I would, even if I had really strong messaging that was like, warning, warning, make sure you don't just do this. That is a no-go. I do not want to accidentally open everybody's models up to injection attacks. And all tests are, so I think it's already being tested. It is being tested, right? Data references, ID tampering, for example, is part of the checksum. If I recall, that's where all the hijack tests come in handy. They do. Yep. Yeah, I know, guarded. I'm on the fence still. Haha. Yeah. So, I mean, fillable's fine, whatever. But it's like the deed's already been done. Way too many people use guarded equals empty array. And I would just be like screwing everybody, which is not cool. Guys, I don't know. I'm feeling like this is the feature. You know what I'm saying? Feel like it's already tested. That's just the way I'm feeling. But this definitely like, I don't know, folks, because I can't even figure out what other cases that I could possibly test, you know? All right, weigh in the chat if you think I'm missing something, or is everybody like, you're an idiot, it's tested, it's secure, we should have done this a long time ago. That's what everybody was saying. Just rename the dirty variable. Okay. So we just want it to be model data. Yep. Because I considered it dirty before because it didn't pass through the rules whitelist. Yeah. Is there anything we're missing with nested stuff? Like if you have foo.id.something and then, yeah, no, because in the dehydrate, we're only going to set the nested stuff. Like in dehydrate model, I'm looking, okay, I get before first dot, instance before first dot, after first dot. Instance before first dot, after first dot. So this is like the second thing here. And then we're saying key data get filtered model data. Maybe is that something? There are tests for wild. If you instance an empty model, you can get the attributes array or no to check the keys. But as the others say, I think the checksum would prevent it. No. If we get a empty model, if we get a model from a database, we have an attributes array. If we don't, if it's just a newed up model, you don't get an attributes array. So if it's a new post, then your post attributes isn't going to be set because that stuff comes out of the database and we haven't even touched the database. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of one of the side effects of Laravel's, the way Laravel does it, as opposed to something like Rails or something where you're actually explicitly stating in the model what columns are in the table, you know, where Laravel is all implicit. All right, so here's maybe a test that I would want to cover is like, what if we have, so let's see, component has, models can be set as public properties. So it's like here's kind of the thing that the tree I'm barking up. Oh, talking about that. Should there be a check for tampering a model and making it seem not existing? I don't know how you would do that because you would have to change the ID, you know? Yeah, the checksum protects us against that. So here's the thing. If you have public rules, okay, then you have post dot things. And this is the other thing. We don't actually do any nested relationship stuff here. You know, like, does this even work? Maybe if you had an accessor that changes a column into an array, maybe that would do it, like an appends, you know? But like, let's say you have, love the stream, albeit over my head on the most part. Good day, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Adam. Yeah, this is the part that's a little bit over the heads of people who aren't deep into the core. Sorry about that. Maybe it gives you a window into why, I don't know, Livewire is a little bit of a sin eater in this way. So public rules post.things.foo, okay? And then let's say that you want to do like wire model post.things.bar. On dehydrate, when we dehydrate, if we have post.things.foo, what gets dehydrated? You know, is it post things and then all of post.things that includes foo and bar? Because then this leaves us open to what? To nothing, because we still check the deep key for the setting. Folks, I can't do it. I can't figure anything out that's going to change this. All good, still enjoying. Catch you on the next one. Thanks, Adam. I don't think nested rules are instantiated because it never works for me. I love that line. You're protected against it because I'm consistently frustrated by it just not working. Okay, so this is it, folks. Hydrate. We're going to say only reference rules array model property white list on dehydrate. That's what we're doing. And then we legit publish. Okay. Guys, we made some real headway, and this is the kind of thing that like if I'm doing this alone, I don't know. Stuff doesn't happen when I'm doing this alone. It's just nice to have friends. Thanks for hanging out. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk some Alpine. Let me get this written up, and then, yeah, because I got to go soon. And then we'll take like 5 or 10 and we'll talk about Alpine and new Livewire. Okay. Only reference rules array model property whitelist on dehydrate. Description pending. Wow. Create the pull request. Whatever. I'll do this later so I don't waste your time. And then this is good. Was not expecting it to be that easy, folks. Was not. We just needed to get our heads around it. Okay, Alpine talk. Use GitHub CLI. Nah, I don't like it. I have it, but I like my workflow. Maybe I'll take a look on the route model binding during solitary Christmas. That'd be great. Brew install GH. I have it, I think. Yep. So, yeah. I got it. Okay, folks. So, Livewire and Alpine future. So, where do we start here? So like the current JavaScript state, you know, I think it's pretty good, but I want it to be better. But like everything's super stateful. Like here's the Livewire constructor. Like look at all this. And then this is kind of not stateful, but every single Livewire component, here's my biggest problem with Livewire's JavaScript. Every component is an object of this class called component. And just look at this thing. Take a look. It's the God object. You know? It's very big. It's very beefy. It's very stateful. And so there's issues that arise because something in it gets changed or it's not available or it's not attached to the right element, and then ensues problems. So my goal is to come up with a solution where I think we're still going to need component objects, but I want it to be like nothing like this. So here is Livewire future. And so here's the new JavaScript. This is the component class. So it's this whole thing, which is much, much slimmer. And the only thing it does is track its own state, basically, and intelligently update its state from responses. Like, that's it. So here's the cool part that might make it is nasty. I can vouch for this. Will there be updates to safer eval in v3? For sure. Yeah, big time. So I'll show you the new eval. So Livewire is going to use Alpine's evaler. And how do I make this not freaking giant? Okay. So this is the new evaluator. It's a little bit, it's kind of gnarly, but it's super powerful. It's really efficient, and I don't even know where to start because I don't think a lot of people would even really understand the benefits, I think, without a lot of context. But one cool thing, it supports async, but it like in a really cool way. So like any eval inside Alpine, like if you have like @click, or I don't know, if you have like xshow, you could say await and then, fetch something, whatever. I don't know. And then it would actually work async. But if you didn't use async, if you just used normal sync, like get something, I don't know, then it will be synchronous. And that's the really tough thing to accomplish, that I had to create my own kind of concept that I called bisync. It's like both async and synchronous, where I like kind of set some state if the thing is finished and the result of the thing. And then I create a promise and whatever. It's kind of a difficult problem that's a little bit hard to describe, but it's very, very cool. The new evaluator is going to be sick, but whatever. So here's like a quick tiny peek into something like wire loading. This is a good example of the new way of doing things. So inside of the component file, I have this loading, so that from anywhere you could say component.loading and get true or false if the component is actually out to the server. And this goes for wire dot, because wire is going to be components. You could say wire.loading in Alpine and get the actual state if you want. But that's all cool. And I can see but I would really want to do something like this, like I want it to be reactive, where if it goes to false, this knows to change. So this is where I have to get a little bit fancy and create a get loading Boolean function, which returns a stateful, like a reactive version of that Boolean. So I actually use Alpine to create a reactive object and whatever. So this is all internal now. It has nothing to do with the wire loading directive. This is just an internal function of the component. So now my wire loading directive, so here's like the new syntax, wire.directive loading. And then you have this callback. Inside of this gets registered on the component. You can do stuff to the element, but you have this add Alpine directive. So I can do something like add Alpine. So here's like the most basic functionality of wire loading now. So wire loading, when it gets processed, I literally am virtually adding an Alpine directive called xshow, and then I'm returning this.wire.loading equals true. And then it's all going to be reactive because this is reactive. So kind of hard to describe, but basically this is what I mean by Livewire is now going to be an Alpine plugin. Like here's the index.js of the new Livewire. I'm literally waiting for Alpine to initialize, and then I'm adding a new Alpine component, which you haven't seen this yet. Oops, spoiler, called Livewire. And now it's just an Alpine object with some extra fancy things clearly. But then this is where, this is that add Alpine directive function that I passed down. So all these Livewire directives are just going to become facades for Alpine, so that you can use them, they're always going to be supported. But if you want, you could just do this. This is the true under the hood happenings of it. And then this is the kind of frosting on the top. So yeah, so there's some stuff there. You should consider using a better testing framework. Yeah. Got to run. Okay, so I think I have to run as well. Remember the call where I asked you why Alpine isn't the core for Livewire? That's really interesting because Livewire has a core. Then I extracted a bunch of that core to Alpine, but didn't like use it. So now I had the core living in 2 places, and so now I'm just kind of leaving it in Alpine and using Alpine's core. But I thought that what I was going to have to do is just expose a bunch of stuff like, Alpine.bind, some element, some property, some attribute like class, and then some value, and just keep the same Livewire core, but instead of all the DOM manipulations, use Alpine stuff. But this is that dream like way fully realized, where I'm actually using Alpine itself. Like you could write an entirely different framework, an entirely different front-end framework just as an Alpine plugin. Because here's the other cool thing. With Alpine, there's this concept of intercepting. So you can intercept any attribute and value on an HTML element and change them. So I'm like, okay, if the name starts with wire colon, if it doesn't start with wire colon, just return the name and the value and let Alpine do its thing. Otherwise, change it to X spread, or you could change it to anything. So yeah, okay. So that's what's up, and I do have to run. So thank you all for hanging out. Will it release with Laravel 9? I'm planning to hopefully release all this stuff in the spring, or like late winter, So, but we're making headway. Alpine Next is done basically. It's just bug fixing and making Livewire, building the new Livewire, which is, there's some challenges, but that's the fun part. So, okay. Thanks again for hanging out, everybody. I really appreciate it. Yeah, go fishing this afternoon. I have a call. I wish I could. All right. Thanks, Austin. Thanks, Malik. Thanks, Adrian, Nuno, Uzafar, Kevin, everybody who hopped on. Mark, it was great to hear from you. All right. I'm peacing out. See you guys.